Now, head-up displays in cars are really cool, but this right here is on another level. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to the channel. My name is Nick O'Leary, and today we're covering some pretty cool Mercedes tech called a head-up display. Now, I know this is an extremely rare option and feature in the UK, but nevertheless it is some pretty cool tech, and I wouldn't mind it in my own car myself, to be honest. So for those of you wondering what is a head-up display, glad you asked. Let's go through it. Well, a head-up display actually stems back from when fighter pilots had the luxury of trying out this tech in planes. And the name, funnily enough, is purely a play on the words to keep the pilot's head up and not looking down at their instruments, which is particularly useful when flying or in dogfights. And it genuinely works. It takes less time for you to focus on something if you're already looking at it than to look down and adjust your eyes and then focus. So if you're able to keep looking out through your windscreen, you're more likely going to spot stuff that happens in front of you and from further away because you'll see it coming. It works by using a projector and projecting it onto the windscreen that has been specially treated in this area for you to be able to view this. And this is how cool it is, only the driver can see it. Seriously, just moving the camera around the cabin, you can't see it unless you're in the driver's seat, which is so cool. So all of this is really high tech, but what can you view on it? Well, you can choose. But before this, I should point out how you can turn it on and off. Quite simply, if you have MBUX, it's actually done on your center screen. Quite simply, just press the home button, swipe across to settings, and it's in the quick access menu just here. However, if you have one of the previous systems, just like Command, you'll actually find this HUD button on the right hand side, kind of around in this area. So what can you see? Well, of course, just bear in mind it won't be as graphical as the center screen, and rightly so. You'll want to actually see where you're going. So the most obvious one is your current speed on its own, and to be honest, my personal favourite, as it's the simplest one without going too overboard. Now you can of course add more content like navigation with turn guidance, which is actually quite easy to read. You can add speed limits for the road you're on, and even your cruise control or speed limiter readouts, all on the head-up display. And it's all customised via the controls on the steering wheel located closest to the driver's door. Simply press home and swipe across to HUD for adjusting the position, brightness and display content. The position can be moved in increments to +5 to -5 depending on your driving position, and on top of this as well you can even adjust the brightness depending on your preference. And then we get on to the good stuff, the display content, where the real customization happens. Every single one of these has your current speed, but you can customize the other elements either side. So for starts, if you're lucky enough to own an AMG like this one here, you can even place your lap times next to it, just so you never take your eyes off the track. Another variant includes the revs along with your current speed, even adding the speed limit for the road that runs off of the Mercedes system called Traffic Sign Assist. Then we have one of my favourites, which is just the current speed on its own for a more simplified look. And then there are other ones on here too for adding content like navigation elements to help with navigation when you're using the sat-nav. Loads to choose from on here, and no matter what mode you're in, if you activate the cruise control or speed limiter, it'll show that up top as well. Now, I guess some of you may be wondering, is the head-up display the same in every single model of Mercedes-Benz? And the answer to that is no, just because, like most things, it can vary from country to country and model to model, but there is one that stands out above the rest, and that, of course, is the S-Class. The S-Class being Mercedes-Benz's flagship luxury model in the entire range. It features a thing called Augmented Reality. Now, some of you may already have this on your own car, which is cool. It features a camera at the very top of the windscreen and kind of shows you that image on your multimedia screen and then superimposes arrows over the top of that when you're using your sat-nav, which is really cool. But this takes it one step further. You have augmented reality in your head-up display, of course. What more would you expect on an S-Class? Now, I'm going to try and show this to you all now. I'm just hoping it comes out okay on camera, just because the S-Class does feature tech that is unbelievable. In fact, I'm going to link a video just up above so you can see how much tech this actual car has. Now, it actually tracks the pupils in your eyes. So when I position a camera there, it may not look quite right. So I'm hoping it does, but let's have a see what it looks like. So this is the S-Class head-up display. It features augmented reality built into the HUD, and it is so good. Just like augmented reality, it will move the arrows based on your movement of the car as you're navigating around, which is so high-tech. Basically means if you have your HUD on in this car, you won't get lost at all. Here's a couple more examples of it in action. And there we go, guys. That concludes this week's video on the head-up display in Mercedes-Benz. Now, I am curious, if you had this tech in your car, would you make use of it? Let me know in the comment section down below, so I am curious to see what you all think of it. But huge shout out to Sandown Mercedes-Benz, as they provided all the cars you see in the videos, and more specifically the cars with the head-up displays, because they are quite rare. It's quite a rare feature to find in the UK. But thanks so much for watching. Do hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and as always, we'll see you next week.